Welcome back to Turning Hard Times to Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor. Really pleased to have with me once again Nicholas Rodway. He is the president and CEO of Core Assets Corp. This is an exciting story because Core Assets Corp is exploring one of the largest high-grade carbon replacement systems known at this point in time. And thanks to retreating ice caps, the mineralization that has been discovered now had been undiscovered, and there's lots of opportunities here. It's a massive size target, both silver and copper. Nicholas, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks for having me on again, Jay. It's a pleasure.
It's really great to have you. It's one that I'm watching carefully. I really got interested in your story in part because Quentin Henning talked about it, and Quentin really looks at you and your team as a bunch of really bright young people that he's really excited about, because it really does come down to the ability to explore intelligently, and of course there's always a bit of luck involved, I suppose. But really good exploration geologists are not all that common, and it looks like you're on to something very successful. I should, before we get started here, probably just tell people the stock trades in Canada under the symbol CC. You can buy it down here in the States, as I have, under the symbol CCOOF. 74 million shares, trading today, when I looked earlier, at around 46 cents in U.S. money, giving it a market cap of around $34 million in U.S. currency, and that's really quite a low number compared to what it looks like. It looks like this company might have. So, Nick, the last time you were on, it was April 26th. Could you maybe just give us an update of what you've accomplished and what you've learned since then?
Yeah, for certain. And, I just want to touch on something you mentioned there about our team. And, we are a very young team. And the only thing that separates us from some other teams, I guess, is that we are, very boots on the ground oriented. And that was what led to this, these targets that we're drilling.
Mm-hmm.
And this story, started off as very, highly speculatory for sure. And now that we have 6 drill holes in the Lavadiere area, we can actually see some of this material coming out of the ground. So things are starting to come real. But, at the end of the day, still want to remind all the viewers that we, the assays are still pending here. And
Mm-hmm.
we're excited about what we're seeing, but you don't really know until you get the assays back. I got back from Atlin about 6 days ago, and again, just wanted to be there and see what the pictures actually look like in real person, in real life. So I went there, and of course, we do see we have come in contact with this skarn, which has high grade material. That could mean something different to everyone, of course, but around 0.5% to 1% copper usually in what we're seeing there from what we've sampled at surface. But again, you don't really know until you get the assays back. But in addition to that, not only did we contact that skarn within over a 900-meter strike length, but we also tapped into a highly altered rock, porphyritic texture, they call it in the porphyry world.
Mm-hmm.
What you expect to see from that is low-grade copper, maybe sometimes with gold and molybdenum with it over large intercepts. And the goal at Lavadiere is to drill some 500-meter plus holes next year and try to continue hitting the mineralization and to get that long intercept that you need for a low-grade, high-tonnage type scenario.
So you'll be vectoring in towards the porphyry. Is that the idea, where there could be a really, really large structure and lower sort of disseminated grades?
Yeah, that's correct. We have already got into some heavy porphyritic textures there and potassic alteration. So, but the question is, does it get better with depth? And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times you won't even come in contact with anything of grade until you go half a kilometer or more
Mm-hmm.
depth. But we've been lucky enough to hit right from surface high-grade material. And when you're looking at your financial model, in a mine scenario for a porphyry, you want to see how quickly you can get in the money, right? And so it's very important to contact, material that is even low-grade near the nearest surface you can to make one of these, mines actually work. And we've been lucky enough to hit, some very visually good-looking stuff from the surface. So that's why we're excited. And every single hole has contacted the skarn and the endoskarn that we're seeing with the chalcopyrite, which is our copper mineralization, and we even have, bornite in there as well.
Mm. Yeah, that's significant, I think, with these porphyry copper deposits, isn't bornite. So that's okay. So that's the skarn target, and that's sort of, as I recall, looking at the map, sort of to the northeast. Then about 10 kilometers, I believe, to the southwest a little bit, you've got the carbonate replacement, more of the carbonate replacement model, and that's more of a silver target. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's about 10, 15 kilometers to the southwest of the Lavadiere, and that area has about 6.6 kilometers by 2 kilometers of exposed, massive sulfide occurrences at surface. And the idea there is that if we can drill what we can see, again, using a prospector's approach, we can hopefully tap into some of these occurrences that we can see at surface, in the subsurface. It might just be a sniff of the material, but if we can connect with it in these limestone beds, then that'll start to build, our layers beneath the ground, so we can kind of go back and look at our geophysics, look at what we're seeing, look at the big picture. It's all about the big picture for these types of deposits, and we're starting to get the Jackie target, which is an area that, yes, does some of the rocks at surface there run over 2,000 grams per ton. Silver, and also 35% zinc, lead, and there's also 0.5% copper in there. But again, until you intersect that into the subsurface, it's really still very speculatory for us. And the first couple drill holes for these CRDs are generally not winners. And a lot of the time you don't have as much information as what we have to work with. So it's not going to be an easy target to track down. But having the amount of data that we have from superficial mineralization, metal at the surface, I'm pretty confident that we will be able to get a couple of sniffs at the very least at Jackie, and I'm even more confident at Grizzly and the Sulfide City area, as there's a substantially more sulfide at surface. But time will tell. We are drilling right now at Jackie.
And with regard to the skarn, the intercepts that you've pulled, you said you've drilled 6 holes already. You have 6 intercepts, and how soon might we see the assays? Do you have a sense of that?
So I think that the first 2 drill holes from our first pad, which successfully intercepted, hole 1 successfully intercepted a fair bit of the skarn material with the chalcopyrite in it, and then hole 2 was actually aimed to go into the porphyry, so the granitoid side of things, and we did intercept some spotty chalcopyrite throughout that. So the goal of that pad was certainly reached and over exceeded from my visual interpretation. And I'm going to say that we'll get 2 of those holes back before the end of July. At the very latest, I would think early August, and that's just because we had those 2 holes off to the lab a lot earlier than when other companies in the area started their exploration season. But I would expect holes 3 through 6 to be a nice way. I wouldn't even be able to predict at this point when 3 to 6 will come back, but it likely will be in the fall, I would imagine.
All right, very good. Are you well funded to carry out your program this year?
Yeah, so we're doing great right now. We're just over $3 million left in the till, and we were budgeted for 2.7, and that's with a 20% over estimate on our budget. So we're doing pretty good. We've got we just did just over 1,800 meters at the Lavadiere, which was 200 meters over what or 300 meters over what we planned. So that was obviously because we were liking what we were seeing. But of course, we're running a tight budget here, and we've got about a 4-month window to do some damage this year. So we decided to stop the hole 6 at around 400 meters, just over 400 meters, and we just had to move on to the Silver Line and dig into some of those prospects as quickly as possible.
Yep, indeed. Well, it's certainly an exciting story. Watching it very carefully from my end, for my newsletter, and also for the people in this radio show. So I want to thank you very much. We do have to move on. We're out of time, but I want to thank you very much, Nick, for being with us again and giving us an update.
Thank you for having me again. And yeah, we're all hoping for the best and looking forward to the market turning a bit and a little bit of luck. And hopefully we'll win.